Imagine a manager walks into a strategy meeting. Sales are falling. Customer complaints are rising. Competitors are moving faster. The leadership team wants answers. So, the manager opens an AI system and asks, "What should we do next?" In seconds, the AI produces a market analysis, a customer sentiment summary, a risk report, and a full action plan. The room becomes quiet. The response looks structured. It sounds intelligent. It feels objective. But here is the real question. Is this intelligent decision-making? Or is it the psychology of trust being hijacked by a machine? Welcome to another deep dive on AI, psychology, and corporate decision-making. By the end of this mind shot, you will understand how AI can inform decisions, how it can misinform them, and why the biggest risk may not be the technology itself, but what happens inside the human mind when the technology sounds confident. Because AI does not only change what managers decide, it changes how managers think while deciding. That is the real revolution. For years, corporate decision-making was shaped by experience, intuition, data, hierarchy, and pressure. A leader would look at the numbers, read the room, assess the risks, and make a judgment. But now, AI enters the process as a new psychological actor. It summarizes, it recommends, it predicts, it warns. It speaks with confidence. And because it speaks with confidence, managers may begin to feel that the answer is more reliable than it actually is. This is where psychology becomes essential. AI is not just a productivity tool, it is a cognitive amplifier. It can amplify expertise. It can amplify speed. It can amplify strategic imagination. But it can also amplify bias, overconfidence, mental laziness, and misplaced trust. A 2025 study in the Quarterly Journal of Economics by Eric Brynjolfsson, Danielle Lee, and Lindsay Raymond examined more than 5,000 customer support agents using generative AI. They found that access to AI increased productivity by about 15% on average, with the strongest benefits for less experienced workers. In simple language, AI helped newer employees catch up faster by giving them access to patterns of expert performance. This is the positive side. AI reduces cognitive friction. Cognitive friction means the mental effort required to search, compare, organize, and act on information. When managers are overwhelmed by reports, dashboards, emails, meetings, and market signals, AI can organize the chaos. It helps the mind breathe. It turns scattered data into a first draft of understanding. But here is the danger. When AI reduces mental effort, it can also reduce mental vigilance. Vigilance means active attention. It is the manager's inner voice asking, "Is this true? What is missing? What could go wrong?" When that voice becomes quiet, the machine starts leading the mind. This connects to a psychological concept called cognitive offloading. Cognitive offloading happens when we transfer mental work to an external tool. We do this all the time. We use calendars to remember meetings. We use calculators to avoid mental arithmetic. We use GPS instead of memorizing routes. That is not automatically bad. But when managers offload too much thinking to AI, they may stop building their own judgment. Recent research on AI tools and cognition warns that AI can support efficiency while also creating risks around reduced critical thinking and dependence, especially when users accept answers passively instead of engaging deeply with the reasoning process. This is the psychological trap of AI-supported decision-making. The decision looks stronger because the output looks smarter, but the manager may actually be thinking less. Now, let us move to one of the most important studies for corporate leaders, A 2026 organization science study by Fabrizio Dell'Acqua and colleagues examined how knowledge workers used GPT-4 on realistic consulting tasks. When tasks were inside the AI's capability range, workers using AI completed more tasks, worked faster, and produced higher quality results. But when the task moved outside the AI's capability range, workers using AI were 19% less likely to produce correct solutions than those working without AI. Let us pause here. This is not just a technology finding, it is a psychology finding. It means that AI can make people better when the task fits the machine. But AI can make people worse when the task requires judgment that the machine cannot properly handle. And the most dangerous part is this: the manager may not notice the boundary. The AI still sounds fluent. The AI still sounds organized. The AI still sounds professional. So, the human mind relaxes. That is where automation bias enters. Automation bias means the tendency to overtrust machine-generated recommendations, especially when the machine appears reliable. Human factors research has long shown that over-reliance on automation can lead people to miss errors, ignore contradictory information, or accept automated advice without enough independent checking. In the corporate world, automation bias can look like this. The AI recommends a candidate, so the hiring manager gives the recommendation too much weight. The AI identifies a market risk, so the leadership team stops looking for other risks. The AI produces a confident financial summary, so nobody checks the assumptions behind the numbers. The AI says the customer sentiment is positive, so the manager ignores the few angry voices that may actually predict a bigger crisis. This is how AI misinforms decision-making, not by shouting falsehoods, but by making uncertainty look settled. There is another psychological danger: confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means we tend to notice information that supports what we already believe and ignore information that challenges us. AI can make this worse if managers use it to validate their preferred decision. For example, a leader who already wants to cut costs may ask, "Explain why reducing staff will improve efficiency." The AI will answer. A leader who wants to enter a new market may ask, "Give me the strongest case for expanding into this region." The AI will answer. A leader who wants to reject an employee's proposal may ask, "What are the risks of this proposal?" Again, the AI will answer. The problem is not that the AI answered. The problem is that the question quietly shaped the answer. This is why prompt design is not only a technical skill, it is a psychological skill. A weak prompt can feed the manager's bias. A strong prompt can challenge it. This is why the best managers should not only ask AI, "Support my decision," they should ask, "Challenge my decision." They should ask, "What am I missing?" They should ask, "What evidence would prove me wrong?" A 2025 article in Manufacturing and Service Operations Management by Yang Chen and colleagues tested whether ChatGPT displayed human-like decision biases. The researchers examined 18 common biases relevant to operations management, including confirmation bias, overconfidence, risk aversion, base rate neglect, and the sunk cost fallacy. They found that large language models can mirror several human decision biases, which means AI may not remove flawed thinking from corporate decisions. In some cases, it may reproduce it in a more polished form. That last point is critical. AI does not only produce answers, it produces confidence, and confidence is persuasive. This connects to another psychological issue: algorithm appreciation. Research by Jennifer Logg, Julia Minson, and Don Moore found that people sometimes prefer advice from algorithms over advice from humans, especially when the task appears analytical or data-based. This challenges the older idea that people always resist algorithms. In many modern settings, people may actually overvalue algorithmic advice because it appears objective. That is deeply relevant to management. When a colleague gives advice, we question their motive. When a consultant gives advice, we question their framework. But when an AI system gives advice, many people forget to ask, what assumptions shaped this output? The machine appears neutral, but appearance is not neutrality. AI systems are trained on human language, human behavior, and human data. That means they can carry human bias into corporate decisions while hiding it under technical fluency. This is why AI can become psychologically seductive. It gives managers what they desperately want under pressure: speed, clarity, confidence, control. But these four things can become dangerous if they are not balanced by skepticism. A 2024 Nature Human Behavior Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis by Michelle Vaccaro, Abdullah Al-Matouk, and Thomas Malone examined more than 100 studies on human and AI collaboration. The review found that human and AI combinations did not automatically outperform the best individual performer. More importantly, the combination showed weaker results for decision tasks than for creative tasks. That is the reality check. AI may help you write faster. AI may help you brainstorm faster. AI may help you summarize faster. But decision-making is different. Decision-making requires responsibility. It requires context. It requires moral judgment. It requires knowing when not to follow the easy answer. This is where psychology and leadership meet. The future of management is not about replacing the human mind. It is about protecting the human mind while using AI. So, here are 4 psychological safeguards for AI-driven decision-making. First, protect metacognition. Metacognition means thinking about your own thinking. Before accepting an AI answer, a manager should ask, why do I find this answer convincing? Is it because it is well-reasoned or because it is well-written? That one question can save a company from a polished mistake. Second, create deliberate friction. Do not make AI too easy to accept. Add a pause. Ask for evidence. Ask for sources. Ask for uncertainty. Ask the AI to give 3 reasons the recommendation might fail. Good friction protects good judgment. Third, separate speed from truth. AI is fast, but speed is not evidence. A fast answer can be useful, but it should never become final simply because it arrived first. In leadership, the first answer is often the beginning of thinking, not the end of thinking. Fourth, make the human accountable. If a manager uses AI to support a decision, the manager must still own the decision. You cannot blame the machine for a bad judgment. AI can assist. AI can suggest. AI can analyze. But accountability must remain human. That is the new corporate standard. Not AI replacing decision makers, not managers obeying machines, but psychologically intelligent leadership, where AI strengthens human judgment instead of weakening it. The best leaders of the AI age will not be those who ask the machine for answers. They will be those who know how to examine their own trust in the answer. Because the greatest risk is not that AI will think for us. The greatest risk is that AI will make us believe we are still thinking deeply, when we are only agreeing fluently. That is the new frontier of corporate decision-making. AI gives the organization speed. Psychology protects the organization from illusion, and human judgment turns information into wisdom. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the intersection of tech and the human mind, and leave your thoughts in the comments section below. We want to hear from you. How are you and your team balancing AI efficiency with human judgment in your decision-making processes? Let's keep the conversation going.